Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
The Online Success Journey continues with episode 344. Every guest shares the path that took them to success. So you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. I post at least one journey each week and I would love for you to join me. Today we have Pete Piranio, founder and president of EmpirePreneur, one of the best minds in the fitness and wellness business. Hello, Pete.
Hello. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, we're excited to have you here. My audience are excited to hear your story, but start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Yeah, I think I like to share some things sometimes, especially for the online business audience that maybe they don't always hear. And so today I'd like to talk more about systems, people, to be able to scale your business. A lot of times in the online business world, it's all about marketing, but people get stuck, only thinking about marketing and not really, it's only about 25% of the business. And if you really want to grow to a significant level that allows you to build a business that works without you, which is really my company's goal, is to help people build businesses that work without them, then you have to work on that other 75%. So I'm hoping to share that today.
I can't wait to hear more about that. But let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own business?
Yeah, so I started, I got my bachelor's degree in the exercise sciences and fitness management. I played American football in college, and so I was an athlete my whole life. And so I that was kind of a natural progression there. But I always had that entrepreneurial spirit where I knew I wanted to start my own business, my own fitness business. So I worked about 3 years in a gym for somebody else, but I used to tell my wife, I'm just here to be a sponge to kind of learn things to start my own business. And then in 2001, I opened my own personal training studio. So I was primarily a personal trainer once I got out of college. And so in 2001, I actually started my first studio and took that business. And I was fortunate enough that, with some hard work, we grew it pretty quickly. I opened my second location and just a little over a year later. Then from there, built teams, built systems, scaled to 5 locations, had 12 franchise partners, got more involved in the franchising world in terms of helping a franchise go from about 10 or 20 locations to about 400 locations. So I spent about 15 years in that business, scaling up my own locations with franchise partners, helping a franchisor scale their business as well. And then in 2015, sold that business. Took some time off just to kind of decide what was that next chapter, because I'm a really big believer in purpose. And that's what really, you got to know what your purpose is, especially as an entrepreneur, because otherwise you won't have that fire to work through the struggles. And I definitely had that in my first business, knew what I wanted to do. So then it was really about what's going to light that next fire. And I just really thought about, my journey as a personal trainer. Really I was that technician that knew personal training, but I didn't know at 27 anything about business. And so I realized real quickly that I needed to become also not just a fitness expert, but a business expert too, if I was going to survive. And I just knew a lot of the struggles that I had with, just growing that business. And so I said, I really want to go back and if I could do it all over again, what would I change? What would I want to know? What would I do different? And that kind of evolved this business, EmpirePreneur, to help fitness businesses, start, grow their businesses. So we like to say we want to make it more attainable, easier and faster for them to, achieve their vision and learn from my many successes, but also many failures, as I like to say.
Wow. What a background, Pete. Why do you do what you do?
Well, I think, again, I just love entrepreneurship. I think it's to build and create, I think, is what really motivates me. So even just as I'm building and creating a new business here with EmpirePreneur, but helping others build and create. I think, entrepreneurship is a great vehicle for community, your country, to help lift people up, because really entrepreneurs create new things, create jobs, create opportunities, help make life better. So I just really love the game of entrepreneurship. So that's what I'm passionate about. And I particularly work with fitness businesses now because I know that specific industry so well, and I can help them do that very, very quickly. So yeah, that's my goal as well, is to build my business, to be able to help be a vehicle to have an impact on my community and country in whatever way I can.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
How do I know I'm successful? I don't know. I don't think you, I think it depends on your own goals. Again, your purpose. And because again, to me, it's not a monetary thing. I think that gets too overblown. People always kind of chasing the financial component of things. And I don't think I think if you chase that, you tend to not be successful. Plus, it's not ultimately fulfilling. I mean, at the end of the day, every level you reach financially, there's always another one. So I think that's the wrong game to really be pursuing. So I think, if what you're doing is not work, if it's not a job, and I think if you're having an impact on people that you want to have an impact on, I think that would be how you'd measure success. I mean, it's really, again, if you're really passionate about what you're doing every day and it's not work, and it's that is just what you do every day, and again, you're able to impact other lives because of what you do, I think that's success. I mean, leaving all the other kind of classic metrics, like I said, money or things people tend to chase, I think that's creates unhappiness when you're chasing those things, honestly.
How do you envision the future of the fitness industry?
I think, there's definitely the online space in terms of the online trainers, and you're even seeing it with your Pelotons. And I think honestly, COVID even accelerated that because, a lot of gyms were closed down. And so you had a lot of people, learning how to work out at home. So I think there's going to be continued growth there. However, I do think, and I tell a lot of my clients are personal trainers, own locations, like physical brick and mortar locations. I also think, yes, there's going to be continuous growth there, but I also think there's always going to be a place for that one-on-one personal training, for instance, in person, because, I think there's just a human need there too. Right. So I think, you can only have so much, virtual and only being in your own space. And I think that's one thing that, again, personal training, I think insulates it a little more versus some of the other aspects of the fitness industry that can get commoditized, where you're an individual expert. And again, if you provide personalized service more at a higher end, and there's a social human interaction there, relationship building, I think that will continue to grow as well. So I see the online space definitely growing, but I don't see it, eliminating the brick and mortar personal training, because I think there's just going to be a need for that for sure. But I think advances in technology just as a whole in the fitness industry, we continue to see a lot of that. I talk with different people that, are interested in maybe me investing or getting advice from me, et cetera. And so I see that expansive. But like I said, I always caution too, like people sometimes fear is like, oh, is that going to eliminate the local, business? And I really don't think so, because I think there's, again, that personalization that's really relationship building that's important to people.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day suddenly all went right for you.
I don't think one exists.
Come on, from 1 to 400 locations, I think there was a magic there.
Yeah, like the thing is, I don't know if there's. I think the thing about entrepreneurship, and I actually have learned to appreciate more and more, especially as I coach people through it now, is actually the failures, because I think those failures, the obstacles, if you will, teach you more than any successes you have. And as a result, too, you really appreciate your successes even more, because there's just the challenges, that the kind of human testing, if you will, that you're able to, your leadership testing, those obstacles you're able to work through. so that I think the failures and the obstacles taught me the most lessons that stick. As I even teach my clients now, I'm like, those are the things that, I often get them to see the positive side when they have a struggle that, hey, fix this now, but you're going to learn, you will never forget this. And that's a positive thing. Like it's going to be something that you fix. But if I was to, to directly answer your question, I mean, like, I would say for me, I mean, like when things really changed was when I realized that the system, if you will, is the silver bullet, right? So people are always looking for the silver bullet. And so for me, in my early days, it was just hard work. I was born and raised hard worker, just, trying to overcome my lack of, business knowledge at 27 and just worked hard. And, but the problem is, and then I started to add employees. And once I started to add, other trainers, I mean, I ended up having, employee turnover. It seemed like every 6 months, if I had somebody for a year, it was, seemed like a long time, which, when your product is people, it's personal training, that's a problem. And so I knew it wasn't going to be sustainable. And so kind of the aha moment or miracle moment, like you said, that really stuck to me is that I needed to build a systems dependent business and not a people dependent business. And so while people are a critical piece to that, the business, I had to be able to plug in good people with the right values and characteristics into my business system. And that would help me overcome, I think, the challenges that I think a lot of businesses face. And I definitely was in terms of kind of that management and leadership. And so understanding systems and how they work in business was the biggest factor in me being able to scale for sure.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
Ooh, you ask tough questions, big questions. What have I learned from business as a whole? I mean, I think, I hate to repeat myself, but I think having, again, a big vision, purpose that you're chasing, I think is the biggest thing. And it's got to be something that, you feel in your heart and soul, because like I said, you will have challenges and obstacles and things that you have to overcome. You're going to have outside forces and distractions and things that are always going to be, kind of trying to take you off your game a little bit. And so I think I've just learned to appreciate the game of business. I guess that goes back to kind of just being an athlete my whole life too. I kind of really look at it as a game. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but if you are always working towards winning that championship and, it's kind of just the wins and losses are part of the process, then I think you can enjoy the journey. I think that's kind of what I've really learned. And I apply business and entrepreneurship just to life. I think it's taught me so much in terms of how to just deal with everyday life. And, I got 2 boys and growing, raising boys and making sure I can take some of those lessons and help them apply them to their life. So I think it teaches great life lessons, and I could go on and on about that.
You touched slightly on the journey. Are you enjoying the journey?
I am. I think I've learned to enjoy the journey more and more. Like I said, I really treat it as the game, like in winning that game. And, I can be impatient sometimes because you want to reach those milestones a little bit quicker, but I definitely do. I do enjoy the journey. It's interesting because this being my second business, we're still kind of in the fairly early stages with EmpirePreneur. I almost find it a little more difficult because before, I had built great, large teams, good teams, and you learn to, you're leading leaders now, and that was my old business. And so when I started this new business, you're kind of starting over again from it's just you, then you're adding people. And so kind of getting back to the early leadership and management style and kind of balancing doing it yourself, but then adding people. I almost find it more challenging this time because I know where I need to be going and I'm less patient to get there than I was before.
Okay. As you mentioned, you've been in business for the last 20 years. I think you have met entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people cut out for it than others?
Yeah, I think some people are more cut out for it than others. And I think it really just comes down to somebody's tolerance for risk. I think that's, Now, I do think there's more people that can be entrepreneurs than maybe they even think. So, but I will say, I mean, not everybody is willing to really go through the grind, if you will, of what entrepreneurship does take. Like I said, I mean, there's going to be plenty of successes, but you're going to have some struggles and failures, and that's just part of the process. You got to be able to stick with it, and not everybody has that in them. So, and like I said, I think the risk factor too, some people just are not risk tolerant. So I've kind of learned that over time, that and just talking with different people, that sometimes they think what I'm doing is crazy or something, it's like, I don't really think so. But so no, I mean, I think more can be than they think, but I do think it does take a distinct attributes for somebody to be an entrepreneur.
Tell us the biggest mental blocks that are keeping so many business owners stuck in the trenches.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is thinking that they're kind of stuck in the product or service itself, right? So again, using kind of my example, how I started, and most of the clients that I coach is a personal trainer, right? So personal trainers, they own the business, but they're training clients at the same time, right? So they're delivering the service. And often the focus is just more on that actual service as the product, right? And really the shift needs to be that their entire business is the product, right? So it's not just the personal training, or if I'm a cake maker, it's not just the cake making that's, the most important piece. You have to look at the entire business as if you're, just look at that business almost as a box, so to speak. And in that box, you have, all the different systems, integrated systems and moving parts. And your job, as that entrepreneur, that owner, is to, as you've probably heard the expression, work on the business and not in it. So you have to be working on that machine that is the business. So focusing on that product. So sometimes, separating, I think, so part of that process is that you have to be apart from the business, not a part of the business. Right. So there's a distinction. So a lot of times people, especially when they start the business, right, their identity is, again, going back to people that I coach a lot of times as personal trainers that want to grow a business, their identity is their personal training, right? So delivering that service to the client. And so when they say they want to grow and maybe add locations or things, but if their identity is delivering that service and being the personal trainer, they'll never grow and scale. So they actually have to take themselves, they have to be apart from the business. So they have to kind of really separate themselves from the business and say, hey, I need to get this business to work without me. And that's kind of, again, what our emphasis in our company is to build a business that works without you. And so a lot of that, it's most of it is mindset and belief systems at first that keep people stuck in the trenches, so to speak. And so when people can make a few of those mental shifts, and I call them aha moments, or they have the light bulb goes off. It's like, aha, like I get it. Like for me, right? So one of my first was I need to build a systems dependent business, not a people dependent business. That was a big aha moment for me. It's like, it was a big belief shift in terms of that you can actually do that. So I think it starts with, I put it in 3 steps. It's how you think about the business. So that belief system. Then it's your leadership and management capabilities, which is the second component. You have to improve those capabilities or you'll always be working in the business because you'll never be able to lead people. And then it's systems and structure. So, I kind of consider those the 3 pillars. And so if people don't progressively move through those 3 pillars, and they just are stuck again delivering the service, they will never grow the business or scale it like they maybe have in their vision.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely not do?
Yeah, first year I would definitely get systems in place in the business like right away, right? As opposed to just working hard and getting work done. Like I would work to put systems in the business to start to replace the work that I was doing. So kind of systematically doing that too. So sometimes in the beginning, if it is just you or you and just a couple employees, you've got to wear multiple hats. And I think as long as you know you're wearing multiple hats, that's okay. But you have to start, I would start to put systems in immediately to peel off tasks or work that are, that I can eventually delegate out to people so that I can work more and more on the high value tasks that I need to as a business owner. So I would have just started that. I eventually did that, but it was a few years in. I would start that process immediately as an owner.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
Ooh, one thing. Oh, wow. I think competitiveness, and I know it's not one. Let me see if I can pin it down to one. I'd say my love of personal development, if I had to pick one. So, I love to, I think that really helped me in the very beginning. Cause again, I lacked the business skills at 27. I knew personal training. I did love the process of challenging myself and learning those business skills and knowing that I had a gap there. So I love personal development. I think that's probably the one thing. And it helped me because I love it. It also helped me grow my business because it's what I do today is I'm a coach and consultant. So I coach people. So I love helping others personally develop too. So it helped me build teams. I really, it was one of the big things in my old business. It is, and obviously in this business, because I'm a coaching company, but my previous business, that was really our strength was we really poured into our people. So we really took people that had a lot of, frankly, inexperience, but we trusted our ability as a company to make people good people and make them great. So if I took one thing is the kind of the overall just love of developing and coaching people.
What grounds you?
Grounds me, God, it's it's the man upstairs. So I think that's, especially as I get older, I sometimes you learn those things when you're younger, but you don't really process them as much. And so I think humbling myself and and understanding that there's more to this world and everything that than I can possibly understand. So I would say that's the answer.
In your businesses, do you have a coach yourself?
I don't currently, but it's definitely something actually on my list. I mean, I've had mentors, throughout my 20 years for sure. And I know it's actually something that I'm kind of actively seeking and looking for kind of that right fit. I think it's a really, it's important to have the right fit. So I'm a big believer in mentorship and coaching, and at the very least, getting around, again, getting in a community of other people that are either kind of fellow entrepreneurs and people that are doing things really well. And frankly, I like to get in groups that frankly, the people are doing things far better than I am, right? Because that really kind of motivates you to strive, and obviously you can learn from them as well. So I don't have anybody right now, but I definitely have my eyes. I'm really actively looking for potentially somebody or again, a group of owners too. I tend to even be more motivated by that.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
Well, I've been in the fitness industry for like 20 years. And so I guess maybe one thing somebody didn't know is that actually when I went to school, I thought I was going to be I was thinking about architecture. So I loved drawing houses, and I used to do a lot of, back in the day, it was CAD drawings where you're so I used to, I think that's kind of create the creative juices, if you will, of entrepreneurship. I used to drawing and constructing things. So that's one thing probably some people didn't know is that was kind of my original track. And I went a whole different route.
Tell us about your business and how can it help us?
Yeah. So EmpirePreneur, people are looking for more about us. It's EmpirePreneur.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. So that's Pete Piranio. Piranio spelled P as in Pete, Iranio. Also on Facebook. So you can find me there, Twitter, so depending on your platform you like. And actually, we have a new podcast, EmpirePreneur, actually coming out in a week. So people can, search for EmpirePreneur too if they want to learn more about some of the things we talked about today. I mean, we definitely, that podcast will be centered around starting, growing, scaling businesses, and definitely talking about the things that not everybody talks about. Again, sometimes people center things on marketing or things of that nature, but which we'll definitely talk about some of those things. But really talking much more about, and growing teams, systems, like scaling and growing, things that I don't hear tons of people talk about operationally.
Who's your perfect clientele?
Again, we really our niche is really the fitness business owner right now. And the perfect clientele is really that personal training business owner, even sports performance facilities. So people deliver fitness services is really our perfect clientele.
Thank you. There will be more from Pete in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you are encouraged by Pete's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success: How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Pete, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
I read a lot of books, a lot of books. I don't watch a lot of movies. I used to kind of when I was younger, but I really don't now. I tend to read a lot of books, or if I'm watching anything, I have a hard time like with entertainment unless it's like I can learn something from it. So
Okay.
That sounds sad, but it's true.
It's okay. Tell us, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
I would say the one, I think that it kind of goes with what I'm talking about. And I don't know if it'd be my favorite, but I would say was one of my more impactful books in the early stages of being an entrepreneur stuff. You've got some early stage entrepreneurs. So that would be The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. So he's the one that really kind of turned me on to the systems idea in terms of how that can really, impact your business and, building that franchise prototype, if you will, whether you want a franchise or not. So I would say that was the book that created that aha moment for me that I mentioned before. So that would be my biggest recommendation for particularly early stage entrepreneurs.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I honestly, I would just keep it because I would say, hey, we're going to have to make more than $100. So I would be actively working on marketing and sales tasks and initiatives that didn't cost me anything. Right. So the only thing I would spend it on is to make sure that I could, keep my website or my online present as active if there's a membership fee or something. But if I was down to that, it actually wouldn't be about money to get out of that, because I think there's a lot of things you can do to grow a business without money as a solo entrepreneur.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
I would have my personal vision on there. I think that would be the thing I would just want to remind myself of in terms of my vision and purpose. So I would make sure that I would have that handy so you can see it regularly and routinely. What is your next chapter? My next chapter, well, right now we're going to grow and scale EmpirePreneur. So that is the chapter right now, is we really want to have, as much of an impact as we can. So, we'll continue to grow this business. And then my long-term vision is definitely to build a portfolio of companies. And so EmpirePreneur is the start of that, but we will, down the road, to look to start or acquire other businesses that fill the portfolio of what we're trying to accomplish with EmpirePreneur.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
I'm just getting started. But I think the first, if you ask a lot of highly successful entrepreneurs, far more successful than I've been, is they'll often say that the first business is kind of the teaching grounds, if you will. So most entrepreneurs have their biggest successes in their second business. So, and I could definitely agree with that. I think I learned so much in my prior business in 15 years. So I'm excited to apply that, in this new chapter in my new business. So, I feel like I'm honestly just getting started. The first 15, 20 years was undergraduate school.
Wow. Will you ever stop?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I would always be involved with businesses. I mean, will I be doing it the way I am now? Probably not. Yeah, I think, I'd love to sit on, to still coach and mentor, people at different stages. I think it's enjoyable to me now. And I could see, being able to apply another 40 years of experience and help other people out. And, so investing in other business, but being able to advise them, being on different boards, I could definitely still, would it be a full day of items? Probably not. But I don't think I would ever stop the game of entrepreneurship, if you will. I think there's always a way that you can contribute.
Remind us how we can connect with you once more.
You can find me at EmpirePreneur.com. Again, basically all the social channels, Instagram is a primary, Pete Piranio, as well as Facebook, Twitter, and make sure to look out. We got a brand new podcast coming out, EmpirePreneur, so you can look for that as well.
Pete, it's been great to have you to share your online success journey with us.
Well, thanks for having me. You'll go down as one of the toughest questioners. So you ask deep questions.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. You win my award for that.
Oh, thank you. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Pete.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.